Hey Colo Nation, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Cards with Colo King. Today we'll be going over a BeeVeelutions deck, which I think will become very big in the metagame once Ancient Origins does release on August 12th, 2015. And this deck is very, very fun to play. I'm going to be using Vespiquen from the new set, as well as Jolteon and Flareon, both Eeveelutions coming from this new set as well. I'm going to go into some detail of how this deck works. But first of all, I'd like to thank Glitch X City for being able to have music like this to put as background music for this video. Really helps out a lot. And I would like to then say that we are going to be briefly just going over the deck contents, how the deck is played, and a couple of the things I did add in from it, as well as what the new cards that I'm using from the new set are going to be. So without further ado, let's begin with Vespiquen itself. Up in the upper left corner of the card display I do have is Vespiquen, and I'm going to just go over its attacks real quick in English. Its first attack is BeeIntelligence, and that allows you to draw cards till you have 6 in your hand, as well as doing 10 damage only for 1 colorless energy. So it's actually really useful, and it has the potential, to basically be draw power. Its second attack, though, is what we probably will have the most use for in this metagame, and it's essentially Night March time part 2. It takes 10 extra damage after giving 20 originally for every Pokemon in your discard pile. Now, most Night March decks run battle compressors like this, a bunch of different cards, Ultra Ball, discard power, this, and that, and that's exactly what this deck relies on. Vespiquen is very much a discard as much as you can, get as much damage off as early as possible, and wreak some havoc on your opponent very early in the game. Which brings us to our next card, which actually will be able to help us out in these kinds of decks, and that is going to be the first of 2 evolutions, which is Flareon. Flareon's ability is able to make any Stage 1 Pokemon on your side of the field take on an additional typing, in this case Fire, which gives Vespiquen the power to take down metal decks. It gave basically, same with Jolteon, both of the Pokemon actually do the same thing. What they do is they change any Stage 1 on your side of the field to that same type that they are. So it's a very, very easy way for you to deal with both Groudon and Kyogre because they're weak to grass. Then you can deal with Metal. Then you can deal with Water Pokemon in case somebody tries to bring Wailord in. It's very, very, very useful for this meta, especially with being expanded. And even in Standard, there's a lot of things you could use. This deck could stand in Standard. It won't last very long because of the lack of Ace Specs and other staples from the Standard era like End and Colress. But it is very viable in the Standard meta because it deals with a lot of different types at once. Which leads us to our next Pokemon, the Eevee. That Eevee is from Furious Fist, and what it does is when you play an energy card from your hand, for example, like that Lightning Energy, to that Eevee, you are able to evolve into a Eeveelution of the same type. Essentially, you evolve into Jolteon or Flareon with this deck. If you're running any Leafeon from Plasma, you can hurt Grass. You can evolve into the Sylveon that was released in the format if you play a Fairy, etc. So it allows you quick evolution, which really goes along with the theme of energy and Pokemon acceleration in this deck. Our next Pokemon we're going to go over is the Unknown. Unknown was introduced in Ancient Origins, which is releasing soon, and what this Pokemon does, if you play it down on the bench, you can discard it without it counting as a knockout and then draw a card. So essentially it powers up Vespiquen as well as accelerating your draw power and letting you get out cards very quickly just by playing it, putting it right in the discard pile, and you also put on offensive pressure. So after all the Eeveelutions in the Vespiquen, I decided to take in a little more offensive pressure by playing Fortress. Fortress, being a Stage 1, is also powered by the Eeveelutions. When you play it, you get to put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon, and then you get a colorless double energy attack, which does 20 damage plus 20 more damage for each retreat cost of your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you're playing against a Mega Tyranitar TX, for example, you're doing 20 plus 20 times 4, so that's 100 damage, which really is a decent amount for a Stage 1 Pokemon. It's going to get knocked down next turn with a lot of damage. So it's actually really good for mounting more offensive pressure with both its ability as well as its relatively cheap attack. You can use it with any energy. So we're going to go into the trainer cards we're running now, the most important of which are going to be those level balls. If anyone remembers level balls from the last format, It lets you take any Pokemon with 90 or less HP and basically take it out. So you get to play your Vespiquens, your Combees, your Eeveelutions, your Eevees themselves, the Pineco, the Unknowns. It's a very, very good card. And because Fortress, has more than 90 HP, I did stick Ultra Balls in there, plus gives me discard power. The most important card, trainer and wise in this set and in this deck is going to be Forest of Giant Plants. This card allows every grass Pokemon on the field to be evolved the first turn it is played. It's basically you play Combee, let's say on the first turn, and you instantly evolve it into Vespiquen, even on turn 1 if you have the Stadium out. It allows fast acceleration. It's how Sceptile decks might work out pretty well. Getting a Spirit Link on the first turn and just playing your Mega right off the bat. And it helps out a lot making grass Pokemon, which are generally weak in this metagame, other than Virizion Genesect, have a bit of a power boost, which is why it's probably one of the most broken. It is honestly the most broken card in Ancient Origins, and it's very strong out of all the sets that are released. Along with those, we do have 4 Sycamore. We also have 3 Professor Letter, 2 Acrobike, 3 Versus Seeker, 4 Battle Compressor for discard pile, and as I said before, we do have 4 Ultra Balls. If you look at the bottom, I just have enough energy to get out my Eevees. I do have the Lightning energies, 3 Lightning, 5 Fire, 3 Lightning, 5 Fire, and then 4 double colorless energy just for quick energy boosts. Allow me to get this out. Hard matchups could include Metal. Aegislash does shut me down because if I attach 1 double colorless energy, I can't attack it. So that is something I have to watch out for. It's very, very fast deck, however. So if I can outpace Metal or deal with Bronzongs pretty early, I should be okay. But it's really more of a who gets what they need on the field first matchup. It's relatively even. But for the most part, that's the only thing I really have to worry about. Metal is dealt with Flareon, though, and then you've got the Primals. Both are dealt with by Vespiquen itself. So there's a lot of counter meta, I guess, in this deck. It's very, very good in a sense that it allows there to be counters some of the really big decks, even Rayquaza. Rayshay, Metal Ray, they both go down in this deck relatively easy if I can get my draw off easily. And it makes the similar Night March. If the Night March was in place, this deck could have a really hard time against those decks. And now there's a way for a Night March style deck to actually do a lot. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. Lets me know that you guys enjoyed the content and that I'm doing my job correctly because I am here to provide you guys with entertainment. Please subscribe today to Colo Nation. And directly below me are my social media links. We do have our Twitter at @Colo_Nation and our Facebook page. If you search Colo Nation in the search bar, you will find it right there. And without further ado, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And I, Al, your Colo King, am checking out.